Happy August, everyone. Welcome to the Tub Pond Handbook, the comprehensive guide to patio ponds, water gardens, and taking your fish outside. Available on Amazon.com. This is Ted Coletti. How are you? I'm doing this video today because of the temperature situation. Current situation, it is August. Late August, and we have temperatures here in my Zone 6, New Jersey, of only 72 degrees. And it happens, you have a day like this. But they seem to be extended. The bigger issue is it's going down to 47 degrees tonight in late August. That is unseasonably cool. So a lot of people, when the weather gets cool, a lot of new tubbers, they start pulling their fish right away, which I've always advised over the past 27 years, me speaking on this topic, all at clubs all around the country and in all the writings and magazines. Keep your fish out. You don't have to pull your fish in like you do for various reasons. First of all, I want everyone keep in mind, in nature, your tropical fish or any fish, they experience temperature fluctuations. At night, the sun goes down, their waters get cooler. They warm up during the day. Their biology has evolved to not adapt to this, their biology has evolved to this. What they are adapting to is being in your home aquarium at a constant temperature, and then suddenly, boom, your heater fails and they're chilled. That's where the problem is. That's not their natural state. So temperatures going up and down are not a problem, and you'll find that tropical fish, even tropical or even cool water fish too, of course, do better outside with both cooler temperatures and higher temps. They're in their natural state. So the first thing to tell you is don't worry as much, right? That would be sort of job one right here. But we're going down to 47 degrees at night. A lot of the fish we keep outside, you're like, okay, they're not 47-degree fish. Yeah, your white clouds, your rice fish, your paradise fish, of course, goldfish and koi. Some of your barbs, they're going to be fine because I keep those fish at 45 degrees in my garage often over the winter time. But the situation is a lot of our tropical fish are used to warmer than that. So what do you do here? Well, so let's just talk about a few things here. First, temperature. When you go on a weather station or a weather app and you're asking about temperature, you're going to see the air temperature. Air temperature versus water temperature, extremely different. Air temperature versus water temperature on the surface versus lower in the water, also very different because of the thermocline. Even in a small tub over here we have a 35-gallon patio pond. This even has a thermocline. As my hand is going to the bottom of this 16-inch deep tub, it is cooler, even though it's being hit with full sun right now. So that's the other situation. When you see the air temperature, the weather forecast is a guide for you, but it's not going to tell you how cold or warm your tubs will get, because weather forecasts are the temperature, the high temperature in the shade. And of course, the low temperature is usually in the evening. Our tubs are in sun. In the sun, the temperature is much higher than what your forecast says. Naturally, you're being hit by full sun. So your tubs are getting heated up during the day. They're warming up, right? And even in a shallow tub, you're going to have a thermocline cooler at the bottom. So that's fine during the hot days. That's why during the hot days, many of small tropical fish, they'll do fine if this tub goes well over 90 degrees. It's going to cool down at night and they retreat to the bottom. But now we're in the opposite situation. Things are going to get colder. So some things to keep in mind. If my tub, if it's going to be 47 degrees tonight, air temperature, either this 100-gallon stock tank you see right here, which is about at waist level, or this 34-gallon patio pond are not going to hit 47 degrees. It takes time for water to cool down with the evaporative cooling. If it's humid outside, it's going to take even longer. Sometimes if it's really humid, these tubs will not change temperature that much overnight, even though the air temperature has changed. It acts sort of like a blanket or a low pressure to keep them from evaporating as much. We've had very dry climate, so this is where my concern is. It's been dry, so the evaporative cooling is going to be faster. Those of you who have your tubs out in the Southwest, you know about this. So 47 degrees tonight, what's that going to happen? These tubs are going to get warm today. It's going to be a high of 72. These tubs will go to 76 degrees. This one here will probably go to 72 because it's deep, and that one is going to go to about 76. If the temperature drops to 50 degrees, these tubs will still be in the 60s overnight. Maybe it'll hit 60 degrees on that tub, maybe 63 over here. That's fine for your tropical fish. You're probably saying, Ted, oh, all the websites say keep my tropical fish in the mid 70s. In nature, that's not what's happening. That is a temperature they recommend because we don't have heaters that fluctuate, go up and down day and night. So we have constant temperatures in the aquarium, which is not what our fish have evolved to. So 60 degrees is fine because it's going to warm up the next day. If it's not going to warm up the next day and it's going to stay cold, that's when you pull your fish inside. And for me, that's going to be around late September, October. Unless I need to bring the fish in early for other reasons, bring them to an auction or whatever. So in this situation, we have 47 degrees. That worries me a little bit for the tetras, some of the labyrinth fish, some of the real warm water species that I'm keeping. A lot of the barbs, that's not going to be a problem. So some of those warm temperatures, that means the tub may get into the 50s. Now, it'll warm again overnight. Again, not really a problem. I've kept fish out there that has happened to. They warm up back up, you know, it's only a temporary chilling. But if you are concerned because it's 47 degrees, maybe it's the humidity's low, these tubs may get in the 50s, and I've got some rainbows or some Burmese fish or some other really warm water fish. I don't want to chance it. What can you possibly do? Well, there's a few things you can do. The first, and let's go over what to do here. First of all, you got to measure your tub temperature, not your air temperature. Like I said, they're correlated, but they don't go in sync with each other. So the first thing you should always have is a good thermometer. Many people use these pond thermometers. This is the swimming pool version, same concept. What I don't like about these is you'll notice the inside of these thermometers, there is a paper scale. If this scale slips or is not glued precisely where the alcohol or mercury gauge should be, it's going to be off. A better thermometer to have is one where the gradients are etched into the thermometer itself, and then the mercury or alcohol tube sits right in a slot in there. You can get this is made by Aquascape, which is the pond company. They make pretty good products. So you can get this at a pond store. Sometimes I've seen these in pool stores, but this is to me a much better, more accurate thermometer. So kudos to Aquascape, because the other pond companies like Laguna are still making the old version. Another thing, if you want to measure because of the thermocline, you get yourself a digital thermometer with a probe. And with the probe, you can go in the tub. I put usually a binder clip at the end to give it some weight, a little binder clip, and that'll sink to the bottom. And then you could measure your temperature at the bottom and on the top. If you want to get the coldest temperature, measure at the bottom. If you're worried about a hot temperature, measure it at the top. You got to wait about really ideally you should wait at least, I'm going to say at minimum 2 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes is better to make sure that reading stabilizes. And if you do that, you'll probably be surprised at actually how warm your tubs stay even on a cold night, and how cool your tubs stay on a hot day. So, it's going to 47 tonight. I have some sailfin mollies from the Yucatan, which are delicate fish. I don't want them getting in the 50s and start shimmying out on me. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pop a heater in the tub. Generally, you want about 3 watts per gallon for a tub. In my decades experience doing this, that seems to work well. 2.5 watts per gallon works fine. So this is a 100-gallon tub. This is a 300-watt heater. And I will place this in the tub just like that. I'll set the temperature to about a 70 degrees. I'll put the heater as close to the bottom as possible where the water is cooler, so the thermostat goes on, and I'll plug it in. And during the daytime, I'm going to then pull it out if it gets warm. I don't want them getting used to constant temperatures yet. And now, if it's going to have an extended cool spell, I got to make the decision. If I have really delicate fish, do I pull them and bring them inside the fish room now or not? You know, that's a decision I usually make sometime later in the month, in September. It's August now. If there's anything that's happened over the years for me, since been doing this now since what, 97, is that with the warming of the climate, I haven't been putting my fish out earlier as much as I've been keeping my fish out later. The summers seem to be going longer. But there are anomalies. Climate changes doesn't mean suddenly hot. It means that over the long term, the trend is warmer. Today is an anomaly. Maybe this week is an anomaly because of a cold front. So that's why I'm reluctant to pull my fish. Oh my goodness, it's cold. What I will do then, I will get my weather app on my phone and look at the 10-day forecast. If this cold period is going to be extending, remember, I'm not using the temperatures on the weather app, I'm using the tub temperatures. But if the weather app is extended, then I'll say, okay, maybe I don't want heaters in the tub all week. I'll pull them early. There are some seasons where we had a frost come here in New Jersey in early September, and I was struggling and pulling my fish out early that year. So that kind of stuff happens. But you want to look at what is your lowest minimum temperature for the fish you're keeping. And those temperatures usually are lower than you expect. In the Tub Pond Handbook, in the fish glossary, we list the temperatures, the true low temperatures of the fish that I've worked with. And they're a lot lower than people think. You go on the internet, all they're doing is reposting temperature data from other sources. And usually they give one that's, I think, higher than average because they're worried that people will sue them or something if their fish die. But generally our fish can go much lower, and they accustomed to that when they're living in their natural environment outside. They freak out when they're in their unnatural environment, which is your home aquarium. There's nothing natural in temperature, light fluctuations, feeding, water flow about being in an aquarium. That's where your fish have to make the adjustment. Out here, they're fine. So, you will probably be surprised that if you don't get around to this, and I kept my fish out, they're probably going to be fine tomorrow. But that 47 degrees for my delicate fish, I'm just going to pop in a heater, and I'm sure it's probably overkill because it's not going to get that cold. It's going to warm up the next day. So you check your weather forecast and you make that type of decision. And know your fish and trust your fish. All right, know what your fish can do. Do your homework on that. So I hope a few of these tips have helped you as you plan. Start getting your fish room ready, your tanks ready to bring your fish in. Some of you in the northern climates are probably doing this now in Wisconsin or Maine or northern Europe. Those of you in the south climates, you're still enjoying tub season, so this is not an issue. And let us know what you do. Put your message in the comments about what's going on in your region. And check out, we have a whole section on temperature in the Tub Pond Handbook. So you can review that whole section and to help you out. That's available on Amazon. So like and subscribe if you can. And keep on tubbing, folks. Remember, have faith in your fish and know the purpose of your plants. Have a great one.